Good evening, Carolina. Buzzing tonight.
What went on at this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony?
The tragic death of former One Direction star.
Learn more about the drama between Cynthia Evero and artificial intelligence.
And hear about what's going on with the last leg of the U.S. Eras Tour.
This and our opinions on these topics are coming up. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm Kennedy Fleming.
And I'm Popielarczyk.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is back in action. This past weekend, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted over 5 artists into the hall. Cher was inducted as she celebrated with a performance with Dua Lipa singing her song Believe. At the end of the performance, Zendaya came on stage and wore a Cher-inspired outfit. Mary J. Blige was also inducted and was introduced by hip-hop icon Dr. Dre. Mary J. Blige is credited as the creator of the musical genre hip-hop soul, with hits from her triple platinum record, Family Affair, leading the way. Kool and the Gang were also inducted after being eligible since 1994. Some of their top 10 hits include Get Down on It, Celebration, and Ladies' Night. For their performance, the last original members, Robert Kool Bell and James J.T. Taylor, were joined on stage by The Roots, performing some of their top hits. Other artists like Ozzy Osbourne and the Dave Matthews Bands were also inducted. We wish all the inductees congratulations. So, do you know anything about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I've actually been there once. It's in Cleveland, so I'm from Pittsburgh. I've been a little bit back and forth and in that area, but my brother actually works in Cleveland and was able to hear them sound checking for the performances the other day, and I was so jealous because there's so many iconic performers that go through there or even just have the hope of getting into the Hall of Fame someday. But I think it'd be a neat experience to go back now that I'm older and I kind of understand the music a little bit more. Is that kind of your genre? Are you not really a hip-hop, rock and roll person?
I'm not really a hip-hop rock and roll person,
okay.
But I would say I know a lot about Mary J. Blige, not much about Cher except for when they did that little musical on RuPaul's Drag Race, that's
okay.
probably the max Cher I know.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't think I've ever been too interested in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know it existed, and I know it's a big honor for these artists, and so I'm glad that they were able to get inducted in, especially Kool and the Gang,
yes.
considering how much history and how many songs they have. It reminds me of when I was in the car with my granddad when he could drive, and I remember hearing Ladies' Night, and I was I don't know what the song is about, but this is rocking. But yes.
So kind of it does go back to our childhood a little bit. I'm sure that my parents listened to those songs and I heard them, growing up too. But I'm ready to just have, some kind of Hall of Fame that has to deal with, the people that we really love. Maybe it's just 2010s, iconic female singers Hall of Fame. But I'm ready for that more. But it would be nice to go back and kind of appreciate the music that, especially I know that the rock and roll was, that kind of era it had, within its own time. So I need to go back and appreciate it a little bit more. Maybe listen to that music now that I know so many people got inducted, and for good reason.
Yes.
So maybe I'll have to go on my Spotify later and check some out.
Right, definitely, for sure. So my question is, who do you think in our generation would be in the 2010s Hall of Fame?
2010, I mean, definitely Taylor Swift. We'll talk about her later, but just everything she has done. I feel now a little bit more Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, now, getting out of those teen years. Honestly, every single Disney kid that has gone from there into having, the amazing performing careers that they've had. What about you?
In my head, I'm thinking about Miley Cyrus, because I feel her run she has a generational run.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you hear Hannah Montana or Miley Cyrus, there's some song coming in your head, you either got Wrecking Ball or, Gonna Get This from the television show. So it's she has such a wide range, and then her, and then Demi Lovato. I think they would be really good in there.
Yes.
They were pushing during Disney Channel. I mean, with all the stuff they had going on, every single song was good. So definitely.
And then they could also talk about, the trip that those performers had to go on to get to where they are now. And I mean, a lot of them being child stars, kind of talking about that, how that factored into their performance career and how they were kind of set back in some places, and then other parts that helped them more because they did have kind of the popularity established at a young age. But I feel we need to check all of it out. I just need to listen to more music overall and less of, just musical theater and Taylor Swift, because right now that is strictly what my playlists are. I gotta broaden it out a little bit.
Yes. It's good to have a wide range of musical genres, so that way anybody's oh my gosh, do you remember this very specific Barbie movie from 2009 on the set list. So I'm like, I do actually.
The 12 Dancing Princesses,
Dancing
that makes the cut right now.
Fashion Fairy Tale. Yes, all
but
of those.
We'll throw in a little hip hop with it too, so we have all the bases covered.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, news broke last Wednesday that former One Direction star Liam Payne had passed away. The first articles released revealed that he fell off a third-story balcony at a hotel in Argentina. Since then, his partial autopsy showed that he had multiple substances in his system that day. The drugs have been identified as pink cocaine, a mix of ketamine and methamphetamine, in addition to crack and benzodiazepine. Prior to the incident, an employee from the hotel called authorities, informing them that he had a customer who was acting erratic and breaking objects within his room. Payne was also announced dead at the scene 7 minutes after the emergency call was placed. All One Direction members have posted their condolences on social media, as well as countless celebrities whose paths crossed with his. Payne was just 31 years old. Kennedy, this is not the kind of story we normally have on here. Obviously, super disappointing to hear. I heard the news on Wednesday and just could not believe it. I feel like this is one of, the celebrities passing that hits our generation the most. We haven't had a ton of people so far that we kind of grew up alongside, and, the people we were just talking about, that those Disney stars, those kids that start from a young age and continue on, seeing One Direction on X Factor, and then the career that they had, and then all of them splitting their own ways, and Liam Payne having his own, solo albums and stuff like that. It hits a little bit closer to home than a lot of people would expect, especially since I feel like we're still young, and then knowing that, we were listening to their music at 5 years old, and now, unfortunately seeing his passing, I know it just hit especially people around our age the most with this news.
Yeah, it was definitely shocking, because I remember I was at a concert, so I'm having the time of my life, and then I just see Liam Payne dead, and I'm like, wow, that is just, it's still like crazy to think about, because it's like you never know like how someone will go, or like how will they be remembered for the rest of their life. And it's a difficult thing to think about, but honestly, when I saw it, I just immediately thought of Strip That Down, and how that unfortunately is going to be like the most memorable song we have of him going down. And I'm not sure if you've seen the video, but there was a video of a memorial service they had, I think, I'm not sure exactly where, but I think it was his hometown, and they were playing Strip That Down, and it was supposed to be a very sad moment, and everybody was sad and crying, and I was like, But I understand people grieve different ways, and if that's how it helps, that's how it helps.
Yeah, and it's difficult too, because I know a lot of people are going through right now, the disbelief period and not knowing how to deal with it, and especially his friends and family that have to deal with it on such a global scale, that it is such a big story. But you do have to grieve, and then some people, celebrate, and now they're going through and saying, well, here are the best parts of his life, let's remember him in a positive light. And yes, that song is a part of that, but so is his entire journey that he had being a singer and being a father. And now that, that's not a thing anymore, it's, okay, how much time do we give ourselves to grieve, and then how do we make sure that future generations know how impactful him and his friends were to our generation and beyond, and the music industry that loved boy bands and loved the music that they produced. So it's going to be interesting, especially the next couple weeks, to see how people turn it, hopefully finding the best parts of his memory and having those live on, because especially his family and friends, I'm sure, want to see that right now.
Absolutely. I mean, with a lot of the One Direction fans posting like old content and videos, and I'm just like, wow. I was like, wow, I remember that. Like, I remember when they first got together, and they had really bad singing voices, and it was a rough watch, but then suddenly it's like, boom, worldwide celebrities, everybody loves them. Did they have their own little quarrels? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, they still loved him, and, they're doing their best to cope, and we as people will do our best to cope as well, because it also reminds me of when Cameron Boyce passed away.
Yes.
I think that one hit like the strongest for me, because we like literally grew up with him.
Yes.
For sure. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, that is like the cutest boy I've ever seen on television. And it was a lot, but we got through it, and we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this, guys.
Yes, I'm sure of it, and I know that there are so many people out there, like you said, Cameron Boyce, that was the first person that I thought of where it's been a similar situation with people our age, you know, learning how to cope with all of that, and I know that they were such, you know, iconic, not just singers or dancers, but performers overall, and people, and that they had their, you know, their songs and their dances and their opinions and all that, but I'm glad that people are taking all of this and trying to turn it into a positive thing and posting those funny videos and, you know, their best songs and just kind of making it a happy memorial to make sure that he's represented in the best light possible so that, you know, everyone knows we appreciate him, and it's obviously not the kind of news anyone wants to hear, but, you know, hopefully this is the track that we want to continue to live on so that other people know the same.
Absolutely.
Don't leave just yet. We will be right back with some more national entertainment news right after this.
Is editing a photo really wicked? Cynthia Erivo, who plays Elphaba in the upcoming movie Wicked, is under fire after recent comments. The comments were about a fan who edited a promo poster for the new film Wicked featuring Ariana Grande. The edit was originally made to fit the original musical poster, where Elphaba's hat is covering her eyes with a strong red lip. The fan-made poster also changed Ariana Grande's appearance. The original promo poster for the movie had Elphaba's eyes directly facing the camera, with the green lip and Glinda's hand being too low. After seeing the edit, Erivo said on her Instagram story, quote, "This is the most wildest, most offensive thing I have seen." Erivo also claimed that the edit on her face and eyes was an attempt to erase her. Just a week before, Erivo liked an AI edit of her and Ariana Grande. Well, to end that off, I think it's definitely a choice to make that comment on Instagram, but from what I had read and understood from ex-users was that she usually does this kind of thing, and she's kind of been this dramatic for a while. So I definitely, I can't see where she's coming from, but I can see where the fans are coming from.
Yes. As a fan of Wicked, that's, I think, the first musical I ever knew of when I was little. I remember being 4 and learning all the words to Popular, and that was my favorite song for years. Seeing when they released the full movie poster with them sort of replicating the original musical poster, I was kind of taken aback because I noticed the changes. Like, there wasn't a red lip, her eyes weren't covered, Ariana Grande's hand being too low. I know that's, you know, a minimal critique to have, but it does make a difference when it's such an iconic movie poster that so many people have idolized the past 20-some years. And I mean, it's hard to kind of do what we talked about a couple weeks ago, having all of these remakes or different versions or musicals to movies and back and forth, but you do have to have a little bit of grace when it comes to the little adjustments that they make over time, and I guess the poster is one of them, but I'm pretty sure it's all those strong musical theater kids saying, this is what I've grown up with, this is what I know, and why are we deciding to change it now?
Exactly, because we're so used to, like, the original of it, and if you have the ability to get as close to that poster original design as you can, why not do it?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Wicked is loved by so many people. I really want to see Wicked live one day, but I haven't yet. So I've watched, like, the slime tutorials on YouTube. If you know, you know. But after watching that, I'm like, okay, this is, like, iconic. Like, I can't wait to see this on screen. And then you have a poster that's a little bit out of whack, which is okay, because, you know, like you said before, it's a new generation, it's a new life. But getting mad at a fan for changing something really simple, which is just covering your face like the original and moving Ariana Grande's hand up a little bit, it's like, is it really ever that serious?
And I think a lot of people were generalizing it by taking away some of Cynthia Erivo's facial features and then saying that Ariana Grande's face was changed. They changed her outfit to replicate the one that was on the original poster. The one for the movie, she's wearing a crown and, you know, her pink dress, but originally in the poster, it's the outfit that Galinda wears whenever she walks into Oz for the first, or the school for the first time. So it's just those minor changes that people were making. I'm sure that they were doing it to be an authentic fan and to make sure that, oh, if I want to put this poster up in my room, I want it to be as close to the original as possible. I don't think they were doing it maliciously or to take away Cynthia Erivo's, you know, personality or any of her traits or anything like that. I think it was just honestly fans hoping that they could bring back to life what they, you know, are used to.
Exactly. No harm, no foul. but it was taken to a different place.
Yes.
But I think one of the biggest things about the whole situation is the fact that she had liked a post earlier that week of an AI edit of her and Ariana Grande's characters fighting each other. I can't say the comment that was made with the post, but it was just something silly, and she liked it. And then there was another post that somebody made that was making fun of the poster, and she was like, wow. And people were like, oh, this is a funny wow. But maybe she meant it as a serious wow. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's hard when a lot of it does get taken to social media, and I'm sure that all of these AI edits we're going to have a lot of issues with, especially years from now. I know now people are starting to create them and put them places, and a lot of people that unknowingly, post them or think that it's the real thing. So I'm sure that just wanting to go through and Photoshop it a little bit is not, the same thing as them wanting to completely erase what they're doing with the movie. But I'm sure that we'll have a lot of situations like this within the next couple years, and then also if they continue to do remakes or movies back to musicals, we would have seen the same thing with Mean Girls a couple months ago if AI was as prevalent as it is now.
You know what? That's a really good point. We definitely would have seen AI very much stronger. But yeah, we will have to see.
And we'll keep everyone updated if there's any more out there that end up getting thrown back and forth into Photoshop. She's hustled and put in the work, and no one is shaking their heads or questioning how much of this she deserves. Taylor Swift's second leg of the U.S. Eras Tour kicked off on Friday in Miami for a 3-night appearance. This is the first of 3 cities she'll hit in this leg, the others being New Orleans and Indianapolis. After those shows end on November 3rd, she will travel up for additional North American dates, all 6 shows being in Toronto, Ontario. The last leg of the tour, there have been changes to it, mainly with her wardrobe. The jumpsuit that took Swifties by storm was the substitution of her Reputation outfit, the only era that remained consistent up until now. The new gold and black jumpsuit has fans wondering if this is a step closer to finally getting the release of Reputation Taylor's version in the upcoming months. Kennedy, I don't know if you're a huge Taylor Swift fan, but as soon as I saw this Reputation outfit change, I was convinced that Night 3 Miami, she was talking about how she's releasing Reputation Taylor's version. I think it's my favorite album, maybe my second favorite, so I've been waiting for her to re-release it so I can finally listen to the songs without feeling guilty that she's not getting, the streaming credits for it and everything. But again, another show has gone by where she hasn't, talked about that or debuted Taylor's version. Do you have any suggestions about when you think it's going to come out? Because I know I've been saying certain dates for months, and I feed into the fan theories with that too.
Well, I can't say I don't know much about Taylor Swift. I'm not a big Swiftie. I am very sorry. But I don't know. Honestly, actually, you know what? I think she might just drop it on y'all randomly. Beyonce does that. And I mean, I think what I saw is she had dropped multiple versions of like different albums, or her most recent album.
Yes.
Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, she had like Midnights, and then she had the Midnights extended version where she added almost 15 more songs, I think. So she could end up doing that too.
Yeah. So I think she might just pop it on y'all. Y'all be like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Taylor
Especially there's been so much anticipation leading up to this. I know that whenever she said she was going to have, a new album coming out with, her one award acceptance, so many people were like, oh, it's Reputation, it's debut, it's the songs we love. But now with her own version of it, and with it being Tortured Poets Department, I know some people were a little bit let down with that, but again, an amazing album where she has put in so much work for it. So I'm pretty sure if she releases the new re-recordings, people would be satisfied, and they will let her take a break for once, because this is now almost 2 years that this tour has gone on, and I think she needs a break. I am so proud of everything that she's done, but I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to just get out of bed and go to my classes.
Right.
So for her to do 3-hour shows almost every single night for the past 2 years almost it's amazing.
2 years of a tour, that is actually insane. Like that is impressive. Like, you have to be very strong-minded. You have to be physically strong, mentally strong to keep doing that. And then it's like, she just keeps going around the world. Because 2 years, it's crazy. I saw a video on TikTok, and this girl, she was pregnant for the first year.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, and then she was pregnant again. I was like, oh my gosh.
Or I think about 2 years ago when I saw some of my friends starting to go to the tour, and I'm like, oh, that's such a cool way to end your senior year of high school. And now we're almost halfway through college. How has she done the same thing for 2 years when there seems to be so many changes in everyone else's lives? I would completely respect her taking as much time as she needs to recover from all this, because that can be a lot mentally, physically. You know, think about how many times she's probably slept in her own bed with the past 2 years. Sometimes you just really need to take a reset, and hopefully she's able to do this after this tour. But so many people are excited. They're either seeing this tour for the third, fourth, fifth time, whatever at this point, or for the first time, and I'm sure that they get the same experience no matter what.
Yeah, and I love when fans go to multiple like tour stops, especially when it's a 2-year tour, because it's like, I mean, yeah, it's the same concert basically, but you get a different experience every time. You get, I think y'all have bracelets. Is that what y'all do?
The friendship bracelets.
Friendship bracelets, and it's just like the environment. You can wear different outfits every time, and I think that's one of the best parts of having like a 2-year tour. But then again, I know that break is going to be so nice when she hits her real bed and like it's just quiet and peaceful and it's silence. It's like, oh my gosh.
And she's been working outside of it too. I mean, I might be wrong with exactly everything that's come out as she's been on tour, but Speak Now, Taylor's version, the re-recording of that, 1989, Torture Poets Department, 3 albums while you are still touring is insane. I don't understand. It's like she's Santa or Superwoman or something. It's a lot of work to be putting in, you know, behind the scenes. So hopefully everyone gets these 2 albums. They're peaceful. They're pleased with it, and then they'll probably be begging for another tour again. But also, she changes the tour up so much now with these re-releases coming out and new albums. So I'd love to see her in concert at some point, but I know that tickets for this were kind of insane to get, so I can't even imagine if she goes on tour again in her lifetime what those are going to be like.
Oh my gosh. I know it's going to be crazy, but at least you got to see her. Did you see her before?
No. I'm ready though. I'm ready. I saw Sabrina Carpenter last weekend, and it felt like a little bit of it too.
Close
Another
enough.
Pennsylvania blonde that sings and has a great performance, and she opened for her on her tour, so I felt a little bit of, you know, a couple degrees of separation from her with that. So we'll see how she keeps touring and what happens with her life the next couple months, and I'm sure it'll be something eventful still, because she can't sit still. She's always got to be surprising us in one way or another.
I hope you get those Taylor Swift tickets. I hope you get more tickets to more concerts. And I hope she drops that album on y'all surprise. Like, no date, no nothing, just drop it.
And then we'll have to come on here and say, I thought I was expecting a release that I was predicting, and now it's out. Go stream it.
Guess what, guys?
So we'll see. But that's all we have for tonight's episode of The Buzz.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at SGTV at USC.
To keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtv@usc.com. For SGTV, I'm Popielarczyk.
And I'm Kennede Fleming. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina, forever to be.